Warfare has come a long way since the days of hand-to-hand combat and primitive weapons. With each technological advancement, the way wars are fought has changed dramatically. From the invention of the firearm to the development of nuclear weapons, technology has always played a crucial role in determining the outcome of conflicts. And now, as we stand on the brink of a new era of space exploration and development, the potential for space to become the next battlefield is greater than ever. In the past, battles were fought on land, sea, and air. But with the advent of space technology, we are now entering a new frontier, one that holds untold possibilities and dangers. The militarization of space is no longer a concept limited to science fiction. It is a reality that is rapidly becoming a concern for nations around the world. Space has long been viewed as a peaceful domain, free from the conflicts that have plagued humanity on Earth. But as more and more countries and private companies become involved in space exploration and development, the likelihood of conflict in this final frontier increases. The deployment of military assets in space, the development of anti-satellite capabilities, and the race for control of valuable resources such as rare earth minerals all have the potential to ignite tensions and lead to the first true space war. The question may very well not be whether there is going to be a war in space, but when and how it is going to be fought. The technology available to militaries today is more advanced than ever before, and the weapons and tactics used in future space wars could be vastly different from anything we have seen in the past. From the deployment of autonomous satellites and drones to the use of directed energy weapons and cyber attacks, the face of space warfare is set to change dramatically in the coming years. In this video on High Tech, we'll explore what space warfare could look like in the near future, examining the players involved, the weapons that could be used, and the technologies that will shape the battlefield. From the militarization of space to the ethics of fighting wars in the final frontier, we will delve into the complex and controversial world of space warfare. So strap in and let's take a look at what could be the future of war. Let's start by taking a look at the people who will be involved. Given the technological hurdle of reaching space in the first place, there are essentially two types of players: governments of the most economically developed countries in the world, and ginormous corporations. On the government side, we have the traditional spacefaring nations such as the United States, Russia, and China. These countries have a long history of space exploration and have invested heavily in their space programs. With the increasing militarization of space, it's likely that these countries will be the first to develop and deploy space weapons. On the private side, we have companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and United Launch Alliance. These companies are focused on commercial space exploration and are likely to play a significant role in the future of space warfare, primarily owing to their ability to deliver payloads into orbit, and for companies like SpaceX, their communications capabilities through their satellite networks like Starlink. We have already seen the impact Starlink has had in the war in Ukraine, so it isn't difficult to extrapolate how important satellite networks will be in the future of warfare. So who will win in a hypothetical space war? It's impossible to say for sure, but it's likely that the winner will be the biggest spenders and the ones who establish a technological lead the earliest. The weapons used in space warfare will likely be a combination of traditional and futuristic technologies. Here are a few of the weapons that you might see being used in future space skirmishes. Kinetic weapons. Kinetic weapons are essentially just a huge pile of mass that has the ability to be hurled at high speeds to destroy enemy satellites or earthly targets. This could be in the form of large pieces of debris or specially designed projectiles like large metallic rods, with the idea being to cause high penetrative damage through sheer impact force. Directed energy weapons. These weapons use beams of light, microwave, or other forms of energy to damage or destroy targets. Directed energy weapons have the advantage of being able to fire multiple shots in quick succession and could be used to blind or damage enemy satellites, or even to take out incoming missiles. Electromagnetic pulse (EMP) weapons. EMP weapons use powerful bursts of electromagnetic energy to disable electronic systems. In space, this could be particularly damaging, as the lack of atmosphere would allow the EMP to spread further and affect a greater number of targets. Missiles. Of course, missiles are a tried and true method of delivering explosive payloads over long distances. In the future, they could be equipped with more advanced guidance systems and longer range capabilities, making them one of the primary weapons in space. Missiles are also the best option to deliver nuclear payloads to desired targets. Cyber weapons. Cyber attacks would absolutely play a significant role in future space warfare, perhaps the most significant of all given their supremely low cost and barrier to entry. This could involve hacking into an opponent's space systems to disrupt, destroy, or hijack them for your own use, or to steal sensitive information. Particle beam weapons. A more futuristic weapon could also be a particle beam weapon that uses beams of high-speed particles to penetrate and destroy targets. These weapons could be highly effective against hard targets such as satellites or any other space debris. Many of these weapons could be dual use, meaning they could have both civilian and military applications. For example, directed energy weapons could be used for satellite repair and maintenance, while particle beam weapons could be used for debris removal. The blurring of the lines between military and civilian technology could lead to new challenges in regulating space warfare. While the use of weapons in space is currently prohibited by international law, as the militarization of space continues, it's likely that these restrictions will be lifted or ignored. There will likely be many new and innovative technologies developed specifically for use in space warfare, and it's important to note that these weapons will carry the risk of triggering the Kessler Syndrome, setting humanity back technologically by decades. Let's also take a quick look at some of the novel technologies that could be pivotal in future space conflict. Artificial intelligence, AI. AI will definitely be used to enhance decision-making in space operations and provide real-time situational awareness to military commanders. It could also manifest in the form of autonomous satellites that perform reconnaissance, debris removal, and even repair and equipment maintenance. 3D printing. The ability to 3D print replacement parts and equipment in space could greatly increase the resilience of space systems and reduce the need for resupply missions from Earth. The tactics. New tactical norms will be developed for offense and defense of space assets. Orbital maneuvering. In space, it's all about positioning. By maneuvering their satellites into the right orbit, a country or company could gain a strategic advantage and potentially block an enemy's access to space. Electronic warfare. Jamming or interfering with an enemy's communications or navigation systems will be a key tactic. This could be achieved either through cyber attacks or the use of EMP weapons. Debris creation. Creating large amounts of space debris could be used to block an enemy's access to space or to damage their equipment. This could be accomplished through the use of kinetic weapons or other destructive devices. This would have to be more of a last resort option, as once the debris is created, it exists for you too, severely limiting your own space capabilities. Surveillance and intelligence gathering. In space, information is power. Having the ability to gather intelligence on an enemy's movements and capabilities will be the most crucial factor in any future space conflict. Kessler Syndrome. We've mentioned space debris a few times, but how bad would that really be? Surely you, the average Joe, wouldn't be affected by it. Well, imagine if your TV stopped working, or every time you ordered a takeout, you needed to take 5 minutes to chaperone your delivery driver on your phone to your doorstep because they couldn't find your house. Imagine no Wi-Fi on planes, or zero advanced hurricane or tsunami warnings. So yeah, pretty bad. Well, that's what would happen if the Kessler Syndrome rears its ugly head. The Kessler Syndrome is a scenario where collisions in space create a chain reaction of even more collisions, causing a rapidly increasing amount of space junk. This junk collides with other objects, creating even more junk, and before you know it, we've got a giant cluster of space garbage that makes it tough to do anything in space, including using satellites for everyday things like TV, GPS, and takeout. While the idea of space warfare might seem like something straight out of a science fiction movie, it's important to recognize that we live in a world where it's a very real possibility in the not-so-distant future. As more countries and private companies become involved in space exploration and development, the likelihood of conflict in the final frontier increases. The future of space warfare is uncertain, but one thing is for sure, it's going to be an exciting time to be alive, or dead, depending on your perspective. So the next time you look up at the night sky, just remember, one day there could be a battle raging up there, and the fate of humanity could be hanging in the balance. Let's hope that we can all come together and find a way to peacefully explore and utilize the final frontier. But in the meantime, it never hurts to be extra prepared. Who knows, your country might just end up needing your services as a future space ninja, Warframe style. Thanks for watching.